Hey y'all, it's Crystal with the Book Bar. Welcome to the Book Alert, where we read them and spoil them. This week's read, we are getting into The Weight of Blood by Tiffany Jackson. So, if you haven't read Tiffany Jackson's books, first of all, like, why not? She's been around, and you need to. So there's that. Second of all, if you are a Carrie fan, okay, a Carrie fan, and if you don't know Carrie, one, where you been at, okay? You're young. Come on, catch up. Two, if you don't know Carrie, we really can't be friends, so there is that. But if you don't know Carrie, go ahead and watch that. This right here is inspired by Carrie. And yes, the Carrie, written by Stephen King, that one, yes. This is what that's inspired by. This right here is like a Carrie 2.0 because it's Carrie but in black and with all of the things. So let's go ahead and get into this. I chose this. This book just came out September, I don't know, 5th, something like that. I don't know. Came out this fall, and I chose it one because we are getting into the fall, getting into the Halloween season, whatever. I know people are big Halloween individuals, and I felt like this was like the best time to go ahead and spoil this book for y'all. And it's going to get spoiled. So a quick little recap of it before I start getting into the themes of this book. I'm gonna set this here pretty for y'all to go ahead and look at that. Is it pretty? Looks pretty to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you an overview of what this book was. You have Maddie. Maddie is a senior in high school, and Maddie is biracial. Problem is, no one knows Maddie is biracial. Everyone believes Maddie is white because the town is very, very racist. And so, I mean, racist to the point where we're talking 2014, they still have two proms, a black prom and a white prom. That the type of racist we're talking about. And so Maddie is going to school. Maddie is passing. Maddie is not passing by choice, though. Maddie's mom is black. Maddie's dad is white. Maddie's mom disappeared. I don't know when. Don't know where she went. Not really giving too much backstory on that. So Maddie's being raised by her dad. Maddie's dad was also raised to be racist. So Maddie's dad is forcing her to pass. So he's straightening her hair, making sure that she doesn't go to school. Like, Maddie has to pay attention to the weather forecast. Now, mind you, as a black girl, we do that anyway because we need to know if it's going to rain, if it's going to be muggy, humid, what are we going to have? Because this right here, I need to know what's going on outside with the good weather. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and get into this book. Prior to getting into this book, so I may have forgotten the wine for today, and I know I do books and wine. My bad. The way life is lifing right now, I forgot. But I do have water from Target, so I'll be sipping on that throughout. Now, this book, we have Maddie. Maddie is a senior in high school, and Maddie is biracial. She's being raised by her dad because her mom, I'm not quite sure what happened. She disappeared. I don't know what that means or what that's code for. But, you know, being raised in a racist town, when your black mother disappears, I have questions that need answers. What about y'all? Now, she is being raised by her dad, who is white. Now, dad was raised racist. His mother was racist, who has since passed on. Dad is now raising Maddie. And daddy wants Maddie to pass. And so Maddie has been going to school, I think beginning in the 7th grade, because she was homeschooled prior to that. Starts going to school, I believe, in the 7th grade because the state got involved. And so now she's in the public school setting, and she's been passing ever since. Dad makes her straighten her hair. And when I say straighten her hair, I mean, okay, full black girl mode at that moment, because they are sitting in front of a stove with a hot comb straight in the air. And I believe even in the book, I mean, ears was getting burned, like memories, okay? PTSD, but memories for that one. And so she has to check the weather before she goes to school. She has to check the forecast because, as we know, if it's going to rain, if it's going to be humid, if it's going to be any of those things, the hair begins to hair at that point. Well, Maddie checked the forecast. It was supposed to be a nice, clear, sunny day. They go outside for gym class, and guess what happens? It rains. That's when the whole school finds out Maddie is black. That's when things begin to happen. So at this point, Maddie is being now teased for not only being crazy, as they like to say in the book, they call her Mad Maddie. I think she's really just socially awkward. I mean, you homeschooled from birth until 7th grade. Daddy is making you be someone you're not 100%, and then also forcing you to like worship, I guess, white superstars, for white entertainers. He puts her in the closet. Again, if you haven't seen Carrie, go watch Carrie, because this is Carrie all over again. But he makes her go into the closet, her prayer closet or whatever, and like paste it all over the walls are images of white entertainers, white stars. And that's who he's making her strive to be like, which she will never be. First of all, no person can be someone else, so there's that. But even beyond that, she's biracial. You're kind of trying to get rid of a whole part of who she is and why. So not only are they calling her Mad Maddie, but now there's like rumors going around school. All the microaggressions begin to surface and all of that because now they realize she is black because her hair let everyone know she is black. And things go down here from the hill from there. And again, referencing Carrie, Maddie now has telekinesis but doesn't know. She's starting to learn that she has telekinesis because when they start to tease her in school for being black because little girls who are jerks, I really want to cuss and I'm probably going to cuss before this episode ends, whatever. But the little girls who are being jerks throw pencils at Maddie and get it stuck in her hair. Like, asshole much? But okay, cool. So while they're teasing her and the teachers being, whatever, contributing to the microaggressions, won't allow her to leave or anything else. So she's sitting there being tortured by her peers. And so that's when an earthquake strikes the school, but no one knows how this earthquake strikes because it actually doesn't strike the entire school, just like the classroom. So that's when the telekinesis begins to unfold. So in this book, you have pretty much 4 main characters. You have some other characters, but you have 4 main characters. You have Maddie, who is, the new Carrie. You have Kendrick, who goes by Kenny because he was told by, I guess, the white kids in the school that Kendrick was just too much to say, so he shortened his name to Kenny. First of all, we're not doing that. I know this is 2014, but that's not that far away. It's 2022. What we're not doing as black people is shortening our names so that other people can pronounce them. You better pronounce it or don't talk to me. It's that simple. So he goes by Kenny to make it more palatable for his peers. We're not doing that. But he's a football star, and so he's also accepted by everyone in the town. I mean, and like football star, like he's gotten scholarships and everything else. Like he is a true football star. So you have Kenny. Now Kenny is black and Kenny is dating Wendy. Okay? Wendy has a bit of conscience that begins to appear as everyone is picking with Maddie, but it shows up a little too late. And then you have Jules, who's a whole bitch, and I said it, okay? And I meant it. I said it with my chest. You have Jules, who is spoiled and privileged, and it shows throughout the entire book. So those are the 4 main characters that really this entire story revolves around. And so things begin to occur, proms start to happen. I don't even know if I've said this already, but if not, I'm going to say it again. They had 2 proms in 2024, or 2014, 2 proms, okay? They had a black prom, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, they called it the black prom, and then they called it just the regular prom, because I guess black proms aren't regular proms, but the microaggressions, prevalent. So this book right here, what I learned in this book, and because what I love about reading, you learn facts that you never knew. Did y'all know that there are still towns that have 2 separate proms? It is 2022. How, Sway? Like how? I did not know that there are still towns that have 2 separate proms. Like how miserable must you be to say, I can go to school with you, but I can't dance at a prom with you? Because that's just taking it too far. Miserable. But I loved also about this book, and this is the ARC, which is why you have all this. It's the advanced reader's copy, but the book is out. What I also loved about this is that there are a lot of social issues, and y'all know I'm all for social change and social justice. Say what you want, say what you will. I really don't care. But there are a lot of social issues that are brought up in this book. And so not only do you have racism and microaggressions, you have police brutality who comes up in here. And that message gets made clear at the prom, or really after the prom, when people are trying to get help, and they actually blocked the black students from entering the white prom or the regular prom. They blocked them from allowing them in. And there's always that one overzealous, because we know not all cops are bad. That's not needing to be said. However, there's always that one overzealous one, and it only takes one overzealous individual for things to go wrong. And that's essentially what ended up happening, which is why Maddie said, I got something for y'all, because the overzealous cop decided he was going to brutally beat on Kenny, because I just jumped all the way ahead to the end. I don't even care. Keep up. That's why y'all should have read it. Kenny and Maddie ended up going to the prom together. Okay, spoiled that. Don't care. It is what it is. That's what the book alert is all about. So Kenny and Maddie end up going to the prom together. And Kenny starts falling for Maddie. I was here for that. See? Because Maddie not crazy. Maddie's just a typical girl. But Kenny and Maddie go to the prom together because Jules, what did I call her earlier? I know what y'all remember me calling her, because she is exactly what I called her. She decided she was going to ruin it. But she's jealous and mad because the idiot decided it was going to be appropriate on Halloween. Like everybody else is showing up as like hot dogs and superstars and all kinds of other dumb stuff. You know what Jules showed up as? She showed up as Maddie in blackface. Because, what? And it was just a joke. You guys don't have a sense of humor. And that's exactly what she said. And so she ends up, if I'm not mistaken, losing her scholarship, or I think the college she was supposed to go to withdrew their acceptance. And so she couldn't go to college at the school that she was really trying to go to. Her dad, some super powerful, I don't know, somebody, tries to minimize it because, you know, when you raise spoiled little brats who aren't used to consequences, what do? You step in and try to save the day. Except for the fact that he couldn't save the day because you don't have that kind of power, sir. You don't have that kind of power. So the school was like, nope, we withdraw your acceptance. She gets mad. She blames Maddie, because accepting responsibility would be too much like right. So she gets mad, she blames Maddie, so she decides, I'm going to go over to the black prom. I'm going to make sure that she and Kenny win prom king and queen, and I'm going to wait until they get up on stage, and then I'm going to drop paint, white paint, all over them. And that's it. So that's what she did. So Maddie ends up with white paint all over. I know in the movie Carrie, it was blood, like we know this, but in the book, it's white paint all over her. So they get mad. So the black students are like, wait, F that. We're not doing that. I don't know what y'all thought. So they walked over to the barn, or no, I think the black prom was in the barn. They walked over to like the hall or whatever beautiful establishment, which was just a field apart, walking distance apart, walked over there to the regular prom to go in and confront, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist. We already know who did this. Let's go over here and confront, because why do y'all get to have a great, lovely prom while y'all done spoiled ours? Well, the police wouldn't let him in. That one overzealous cop decided he wanted to be, overzealous. Somebody bumped into Kenny, so when he got bumped, he moves back and accidentally, it's clear because it's his back that hits him, accidentally bumps into the cop. And then the cop, of course, was like, oh, you're assaulting a police officer, blah, 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 which it wasn't, but that's what happened. He takes out the baton, beats the living shit out of Kenny to the point where Kenny is now unconscious on the ground. That pissed off Maddie. Mind you, Maddie has telekinesis. So Maddie said, that's fine. I got something for y'all. Maddie begins to elevate everything. Cars, people, everything. Smashes everybody to the ground. Like, Maddie let shit fly. I was here for it and was waiting for her to do it sooner. Like, girl, you got all this power. Why you letting them do this to you? Tell them kiss your ass. Go kick rocks in open-toed shoes. Make sure your toes hurt when you're done. That's what I would have done. But, that's just me. Let's back up a smidge because I want to bring in Wendy. We know Jules was a little asshole. Wendy, the problem with Wendy and the people who want to be allies is that it takes something large for them to realize that they are allies. Like, why? Why can't humans just act like decent humans? Why do you have to see someone being bullied, being abused, being whatever? Why did you have to see the blackface? Why are these the things that led you to say, maybe I should stand up against my best friend? And then she didn't really want to, because yes, it was her best friend, but your best friend's an asshole. It is what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, if you have a best friend who's an asshole, what does that say about you? So she doesn't want to stand to her best friend because it's her best friend and they've been best friends for however many years. She ends up, yes, having a falling out with it. But I do like the fact that everybody called her out, including Kenny's sister and even her best friend and some other people. They were like, listen, Wendy, we already know what you're doing, because Wendy is trying to hide the fact that her family doesn't have any money. You know, there are two sides of town. You have the white side of town and then you have the black side of town, essentially. Or the middle to upper class and then the poorer side of town, whatever. But they have two sides of town. Now, while Wendy lives on the white side of town, her family, I think, gambles away the money, whatever. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And so they are living above their means. And so all the things that, you know, Jules has, she's giving to Wendy because Jules knows Wendy doesn't have any money. But Wendy doesn't want anyone else to know. So Wendy decides she's going to stay with Kenny. Wendy made an entire plot to be with the star football player who just so happens to be black, to be with him so that she can live luxuriously on for the rest of her life, because he's going to go off and he's going to get a scholarship. And he did get a scholarship to a school. Well, Wendy decides, you know, but I'm not going to go to this school over here. I'm going to go ahead and accept an offer at the school that Kenny's going to so that we can stay together while he's in college, so that we can be sure. Like, she has her whole life set up. She's planning to marry this man, have this man's babies, because she plans to be a trophy wife. That is, she has made it clear without making it clear. Well, everyone knows what she's doing. So when Wendy realizes that Wendy is only doing nice things so that it appears she's not racist, so that she stays in with Kenny and everything that Kenny has going for himself, people start to call her out, as they should. I love the fact that this high school essentially has a BSU. And if you don't know what a BSU is, then I don't know what to say about that. But BSUs are typically in PWIs. And yes, I'm using a lot of acronyms. One, you should know these acronyms, but I'm going to help you out. PWI is a predominantly white institute. In other words, a college that is predominantly white. BSU is a black student union, which are often found in PWIs because of the microaggressions that you see in a lot of these universities. And so you have a BSU. Well, the high school has a BSU. First of all, how racist must your high school be that your high school has to have a BSU? I mean, they're high schoolers, they're kids. Like, is that not problematic in and of itself? But you know, people are weird. So Kenny's sister, Callie, I want to say, is like one of the leaders of the BSU for the high school. So, and she clearly doesn't like Wendy, and Wendy knows it. And neither does Kenny's dad. Like, none of them really like Wendy. And I think eventually Kenny starts to see Wendy for who Wendy really is. And so, especially after Wendy pushed Kenny to go to the prom with Maddie. Oh, let's, make this a thing and make her feel better. And why not make her feel better by sending her to prom with the most popular person? Because otherwise, where's she going to go? Well, Kenny does this. Kenny has this stroke of conflict because for Kenny, he's black. He knows he's black, but he doesn't fit in with the black students because all of his friends are white because he's a star football player and he's with all the football players. And then you have the cheerleaders and then you have all of his friends are white. The black students are looking at him like, dude, you are in the perfect position to say, hey, stop being assholes. But instead, he puts his head down and just, is a good boy. And so he goes along with it until senior year when he starts to go with Matt. He takes Maddie out to different things, realizes like, oh, you like a decent person. Like, you pretty cool. You pretty chill. I kind of like you. So Wendy's plan kind of backfires because she starts to realize like, wait, so my boyfriend is actually liking this girl who we call Mad Maddie? No. But it ends up happening anyway. So, and she sees it for herself prom night when Maddie starts letting shit fly. That's when she sees it. But now everyone's out looking for Maddie. And what I loved, so I can picture things when I read it, and I pictured this book. And so Maddie is walking down the street, essentially setting fire to the town. And I am here for that. Like, blow this shit up. They all rude. Blow them all up. Now, this obviously is fictional. I'm not blowing up towns like that. Like, don't go there. But in this book here, blow it all up. And I was here for it because y'all all treated her like she was weird and crazy and all the things. as opposed to looking at this child, because that's what she is, a child, looking at this child and saying, you know what? Why don't we be the adults and nurture this child and teach our children how to treat people who you see as different? But no, y'all all want to be assholes, so blow this shit up. And that's what she did. And then Wendy ends up coming to her rescue because Kenny, after he is beaten to a pulp, Kenny comes to, Kenny and his sister are together, they come to, and they're essentially begging Wendy, go find Maddie, because everyone's going to be out and looking for her. So please go find Maddie, go find Maddie, go find Maddie. So they go and so she goes and she finds Maddie and she helps Maddie to escape. So no one knows where Maddie is. And strangely enough, no one knows where Kenny or his sister is either. I guess he wanted to like escape the pressure because we know that he survived, but no one knows where he is either. What I need, okay, in my questions that need answers, this is a question that needs answers. Where the hell is Maddie? And like, and the funny thing about this, or ironic thing about this, is throughout the book, there's like a podcast going on. And the podcast, they're trying to solve this case and figure out what happened to Maddie and where Maddie is. So it's going back and forth between the story and the podcast, And so Wendy comes on the podcast and Wendy's like, or radio show, whatever. It's an episode. Anyways, I think it's a podcast though. Wendy comes on the show and is like, I don't know where Maddie is. And they're like, oh no, we saw you at the gas station with another passenger. Wasn't that Maddie? I mean, we know it's Maddie, but she's denying it. And now I have questions. Where is Maddie? And can we have a follow-up question? Because Maddie apparently found maternal relatives in another state. And so she was like taken, I guess, to the train station, the bus station, someplace, dropped off at some form of transportation where she can catch it to meet up with her family. But I need to know where Maddie is and what Maddie is up to. Like, I need a part 2. Like, I need a Maddie story. And actually, I think I would love this story from Maddie's point of view. Like, I need this only, and I know that this was kind of told in Maddie's point of view, but like, I mean, a backstory, because, you know, dad blamed mom for bewitching him or some dumb shit like that as to why they slept together and Maddie was then born. Like, sir, stop it. just stop it. But whatever. Like, I need I need all the backstory, and then I need to know, where is Maddie now? Like, what is she doing? Is she living life? Did her and Kenny meet up later on? Like, I need answers. But like I said before, if you haven't read this book, I promise you'll want to read this book. This is such a great book. I know I just spoiled it for you, but like, I don't care. You've had time, so next time read it. But I think it's a great book. I think a lot of social issues come up in it, and I think that this is good for all ages. And I think it's just great for the season that's coming up. So, you know, if you haven't read it, you should read it. And I know you guys know that I do quarterly subscription boxes. Guess what book was in the last box? So all of my subscribers got this book in their box. And though I did not have my wine today, for the ones who have a wine subscription, I don't know where my water is. For the ones who have a wine subscription with their box, they got the Conjure Zinfandel from Sip and Share Wines. It's a vegan brand. So Sip and Share Wines, Conjure, it was a Zinfandel, or is a Zinfandel. I chose it for 2 reasons. One, I did a whole box on a thriller and suspense novel. So, I mean, the wine is called Conjure. Thriller much? 2, it's dark, it's red, but it has like a smoky feel or taste to it, and I love that. Like, I actually love this wine. It's a very smoky, and it just kind of went with the vibe of the box. So, if I had a wine here, that would be the wine. But I don't. I have Target's water. And I love Target's water. So yeah, thanks for listening. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about the next time. I guess we'll figure it out together. But see you next time.